How much does Microsoft Teams phone system cost in 2022? Great question. I try to make at least one of these videos every single year because Microsoft changes a lot every single year. They change the names of things, they change the pricing of things, so I try to keep this updated every single year. So I'm going to do a video, I'm going to explain how much Teams phone system costs in 2022, but before I get started, a quick plug. If you'd like my recommendations on the best dial tone providers to quote for Microsoft Teams phone system, don't Google it, just reach out and contact me. More information on that at the end of the video. All right, so how much does Microsoft Teams phone system cost in 2022? Well, it depends. So let me kind of break it down to you. The one thing that I want to start with is that the cost can be broken down into two different categories. Cost that you're going to pay in licensing and cost you're going to pay for dial tone. Okay, so let's talk about the licensing first. One of the first questions you need to ask is what license level of 365 are we currently using today? Do you have, for instance, business standard or business premium? Or do you have an enterprise license like an E1 or an A1 or a G1 or E3 or E5? That makes a difference. So make sure you get that down right away. Okay, so let's take, for instance, if you have business standard or a business premium account, you have a couple different options. So your first option is to get a Teams phone with calling plan bundle. And what that does, it includes the Teams phone standard feature, which is the feature that you need within Teams to give you a dial pad and the calling features. And then it also includes a calling plan, that's your dial tone, which we'll talk about later. And that's roughly $15 per month before discounts. So that'll give you everything you need. So that's your cost right there, $15 per month if that's the option you want to go. That's if you have business standard or business premium. If you have an enterprise level account, like an E1, E3, E5, or any of the other equivalents for government or nonprofit, things like that, if you have any of those accounts, you don't have the option of getting the Teams phone with calling plan. Instead, everything is a la carte. So what you're going to have to do is buy the add-on Teams phone standard feature, which is $8 per month per extension, or per user, I should say. And that gives you the dial pad within Teams and the features, but that does not give you the dial tone, okay? That's if you have an E1 or an E3. Now, if you have an E5, the Teams phone standard is included with E5, so you don't need to purchase that as an add-on if you have E5. But with E5, you still don't have dial tone. You have the ability to have a dial pad and all the features enabled, included in E5, but you still don't have any dial tone. So that's the licensing, okay? So that's the licensing side. I hope that makes sense. Now, the second piece is dial tone. We talked about it a little bit, but you have several options for getting dial tone for Teams phone system. The first option is direct routing. What that is, it's a feature within Microsoft Teams that allows you to connect your company's dial tone, your on-prem dial tone. So if you have SIP trunks or an old PRI or analog lines, you have dial tone coming in on-prem from your existing telecom service provider, and you want to connect that dial tone to Microsoft Teams. You can do that through a feature called direct routing. And so in that case, you have to add the cost of upgrading Teams licensing with the Teams phone standard, plus the cost of your dial tone that you're paying today. And that's how much Teams phone system costs. All right, you also have to manage an SBC, a session border controller on site, and you have to enable the direct routing feature. So there's some soft costs in there as well. You have to manage your own dial tone. You have to make sure you're in charge of the call quality on all calls because you're in charge of the dial tone. All right, so that's direct routing. Now, most medium and large companies do not go with direct routing, however. They go with cloud dial tone. And the reason why is they don't want to manage their own dial tone. They have several locations all across the globe or across the country, and they don't want to manage SBCs everywhere. They also don't want all the employees funneling back to headquarters to pull dial tone from one SBC or SIP trunks that are sitting there and have to rely on that. So a lot of companies want cloud dial tone. There's a few options for cloud dial tone. If you're a small company, say under 50 employees, the best way for you to get cloud dial tone is just get the calling plan from Microsoft. So if you have the business standard or business premium account with Microsoft, just get that Microsoft Teams phone bundle with calling plan. It's $15 per user. It includes the cloud dial tone, that calling plan. So if you're under 50 employees and you don't have a call center, you don't have anything crazy going on, you don't have anything fancy in terms of features or things like that you need, just keep it simple and get the cloud dial tone from Microsoft by getting the calling plan. If you have more than 50 employees, or you have an E license like an E1 or E3 or E5, most companies over 50 employees, they get cloud dial tone from a third-party service provider. So they get it from either an operator connect provider, or they get it from a direct routing as a service provider. And either one works very similarly. You might want to reference back to the videos I've done comparing the two. But at the end of the day, the dial tone is coming from a third party who's connecting your Teams instance to their dial tone through direct routing on the back end. They're doing the direct routing. That's why some of it's called direct routing as a service. But they're doing the dial tone. They're also handling all the customer service for your dial tone. They're also helping you install the dial tone. So they're helping you port numbers and go through the whole transition. And the cost of it is roughly around anywhere between, I'd say, $4 or $5 per user to $15 per user, depending on the service provider that you use, depending on how many employees that your company has, things like that. So depending on your calling patterns, so the price varies quite a bit. I mean, if you have 60 employees, you know, it's hard to get $4, $5 a user. Obviously, you're going to be paying more like $10, $12, $15 per user. But if you have thousands of employees or hundreds or thousands of employees, chances are you're going to get close to $5, $6 a user, right around there, as long as you don't need a lot of extra features or extra redundancy, things like that. It just kind of depends. But most of our customers who are medium to large size companies get their dial tone from a third-party provider through either Operator Connect or direct routing as a service, and the cost is around $5 to $15 per extension, per live extension or per user per month. And the reason why they do that is because they get better installation support, better customer service support. And if you go to Microsoft Direct for that dial tone, it's a lot more expensive. It's like $12 per month per user, no matter how big you are, which is kind of pricey, and the customer service that you're going to get with that is subpar compared to what you're going to get from a third party. So I hope that all makes sense. So think about it again, there's the licensing cost to add the phone system. It used to be called phone system feature, now it's Teams Phone Standard. So there's that licensing add-on, and then there's also the dial tone add-on. So think of it as two separate things. So that's the cost of Microsoft Teams phone system in 2022. I hope that helped a little bit. If you'd like my recommendations on the best direct routing as a service providers to quote for your medium to large size company, or the best Operator Connect operators or service providers to quote for your company, don't Google it. Don't just look on the admin portal for Microsoft. You're probably going to end up with the wrong service provider. Just contact me. I'm happy to help. Within a few questions, I'll kind of narrow down the providers you should be quoting. I'll introduce you to those companies, help you get quotes. And at the end of the day, the service providers pay me my broker fees. So you don't have to pay me anything for doing this for you. So there's absolutely no excuse not to at least reach out and ask me my opinion on this stuff. I'm happy to help. All right, so if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button down below and subscribe to our channel, and I will catch you on the next one.